They don't want to face the issue of, I have to talk to my partner better, and I don't want to have to fix my tone or how I speak to them. Why do I have to watch what I'm saying? Why? Because we're not children anymore, and this is what a responsible and mindful adult does. We just can't keep thinking that this is acceptable or okay and that we can speak however we want, thinking that there's no consequence in the relationship to what we are saying. Hello, welcome back. My name is Dom and I help people to step into their truth and power. Today, I am starting a series on the biggest problems men and women face today in their relationships. And I don't care what sexual preference you are, it really doesn't matter. It's prevalent in all relationships, including the very relationship we have with ourselves as we go about living our life every day. But I'm going to start with one of the burning questions I'm often asked, and that is, why do people living in these times find it so hard to find love? Well, I will acknowledge it's not easy. There are millions of options out there, and we're all so distracted, and our attention spans are really short. And so the first place I would like to start is with social media. Social media causes a lot of damage in people's relationships. And I'm not just talking about the big apps like Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, but also with the prevalence of messaging and texting as well. Social media doesn't just pour negativity into our relationships, but it has also set a standard of expectations that have been set in all different ways. Like there are both men and women who are forgetting what an average man or what an average woman looks like, because they're essentially looking at models all day who depict what happiness is defined to look like. And so in pursuit of trying to attain that for themselves, they will often choose to get involved with things that are not good for them. And that can be on a physical level, a mental level, or even an emotional level. We have men looking at what the ideal woman looks like online, and then in the real world, they're disappointed. They're not happy with what they're finding. We have women not realizing that every man earns millions of dollars and can shower them with vacations and gifts. There is this expectation that a good man will provide a luxury lifestyle to them to live. Now, everybody isn't like that, of course, but more and more people are. Even if they are not overtly saying it, subconsciously, the comparisons are happening. And so I believe it's impacting people's ability to really appreciate each other and the different kinds of relationships there are, and how we engage and communicate with each other. It is so different now compared to what it used to be, especially with social media and electronic communication so readily available at our fingertips. We don't even talk or speak on the phone as much like we used to do. We're not as present in our relationships when we are relating with each other. We're often doing other things, especially when we're communicating electronically. And I believe this has caused a breakdown in how we, as human beings, are relating and communicating with each other in our relationships. So in getting back to the question, why do people living in these times find it so hard to find love and being happy in relationships? We have to look at the biggest problem that men and women face in staying in a healthy relationship these days, because they're not experiencing the same challenges. From a woman's standpoint, women need to understand that men are just wired differently in how we think, in how we speak, in how we feel and behave. Men seem to be wired more logically, and so women really struggle in trying to navigate through his logic. And from a man's standpoint, men lack an understanding that women are wired differently, and they're not knowing or taught how to effectively tap into or navigate through the emotional side of a woman. And so there is this disconnect because both sides are expecting the other to understand them better, and they're not spending enough time and effort in understanding the other person. And so with that, we get so caught up in our own feelings and perceptions of what is going on, when in fact, that's only your perception. Being in relationship means that there is always going to be at least one other person, and so there is always going to be another perception. And the differences between these perceptions is what leads to having the huge arguments and the fighting without really learning how the other person operates. But whether we're talking about men or we're talking about women, it does come down to one thing. And whatever that one thing is, it needs to be healed. I believe this is the biggest issue, that something needs to be healed. But in order to get there, we have to understand there is a difference between our thinking and our feeling. It's not uncommon that I'll ask a guy, how do you feel about that? And he tells me what he's thinking. Conversely, I'll often ask a woman, what do you think about that? And she tells me how she's feeling. This is where the miss often occurs between men and women because right off the top, so many people are just unaware. They're not conscious to what they're connecting with within themselves or with others. Men can't continue to think women are crazy for feeling the way they feel, when to us it logically doesn't make sense. They are feeling the way they're feeling for a reason. And if we can't always explain it logically, we need to at least honor it and just embrace what her emotions are in the moment. And women can't continue to think men have no heart, because to them, we show up to them from a place that emotionally doesn't make sense. So is it any wonder why so many people are struggling so much in the relationships that they're having? On top of that, it's also understanding how we are all motivationally oriented, as well as how we are showing up in our own energy in the relationship. And what I mean by energy is, are we showing up more aggressively or are we more passive? Or do we seek control or do we collaborate? Typically, that negative thing that we are being triggered by from another person is often a mirror of something within us that needs healing. So awareness of this is the first step. Awareness in knowing how we are showing up in the world, and that there is a difference between our thinking beings and our feeling beings. And we need to get comfortable in accessing both. But also, we need to be really clear in our communication with each other, in what it is we are experiencing. Are we really thinking something, or are we feeling something? The one thing that has to happen in order for healing to occur is that we must have peace. Without peace, healing cannot happen. And so the sooner we can bring understanding and peace into our relationships with each other, the quicker healing can begin to occur. And with that healing, we can begin feeling more connected to each other. And so I'm curious, what was shared in this video that really resonated with you the most? Share in the comments below. What was shared in this video that resonated with you the most? Share in the comments below. I would love to be able to support and encourage you in your journey. And if you are struggling or stressed in relationship and would like to speak with me about how to break through the stress and struggle of your particular situation, this is right in my wheelhouse, and I invite you to connect with me. If you'd like to have an opportunity to connect about breaking through this, just click on the Speak with Dom link below in the description box and comments. Also, I'm going to be sharing more videos similar to this in the coming days and weeks, so hit that subscribe button and bell so you don't miss them. And if you would like to help another person, please take a moment to pay it forward by simply sharing this video online with your friends and family. Our world is experiencing so much division because there is a lack of connection and a lack of understanding. So it is my intention to have this information shared with as many people as possible right now. And by sharing it, you'll be helping to get this information out. So until I connect with you again for my next video, stay well, stay healthy, and stay empowered.